prisoner of conscience is a person detained for either who they are or what they believe, a person who's exercising their fundamental freedoms like their right to freedom of expression or freedom of association, and who are imprisoned as a result.
Typically, it's a person who is fighting for freedom, democracy, and human rights in their country. Freedom Now is different from any other human rights group out there. We save the world one person at a time. The stakes are huge, and in certain cases, they're off the charts huge.
Freedom Now is instrumental in getting me released from the notorious prison from Burma. Without Jared Genzer and Freedom Now attention and concern, I cannot be alive.
He got picked up by the Burmese regime, and despite being an American citizen, was terribly tortured. We didn't feel there was enough of a sense of urgency because the question was, is he going to be alive? He spent 5 weeks in the dark, around the clock, in a military dog cell. He was denied food and water and repeatedly beaten. When your client is going through something like that, not only is it wrenching for the family, who doesn't know whether their loved one is alive, but when you know your client is being actively tortured in pretty terrible ways, it's also obviously very hard on us personally. We try to cover the cases of individual people whose detentions are symbolic of a broader set of abuses in a country.
Burma gets almost no attention. Second to Darfur, it's among the ongoing human rights and humanitarian disasters that require attention of the international community.
Aung San Suu Kyi should be the president of the country.
She's actually already been elected in what was at the time a free and fair election, and the military regime then refused to hand over power. They have kept her in and out of house arrest for 15 out of the last 19 years.
No access to the outside world. She is really living at the will of the Burmese junta.
Her case is not just simply that of an average political prisoner, but her case is tied into the entire future of the country.
It remains a challenging story to get attention on because, of course, most of the world doesn't care all that much about Burma.
What's the alternative? The alternative is, sure, we can all give up. Having met many people from Burma who have suffered immensely under this regime, women who've been raped by the military, by the soldiers coming through and burning villages to the ground, the more of these stories you hear, the more outrage you feel. I actually don't ever hold back from speaking my mind. I obviously have the freedom in the United States to say what I believe whenever I'd like to say it.
Aung San Suu Kyi is being held in flagrant violation of international law.
And so I will continue to blast them from where I sit as best I can because, frankly, people inside the country don't have that luxury.
We do everything that we can internationally, legally, politically, and from a public relations perspective to keep the issue in the forefront of the public mind. But at the end of the day, it's really being there for a family whose loved one is in one of the worst situations you can imagine. My whole reason for becoming a lawyer was to make a difference in the world, and
in an instant, it's worthwhile when you see the smiles and the tears and realize that you've helped save somebody's life. It doesn't get any more meaningful than that.